Hello, Jerry.
Okay, Dale, can you hear me okay?
Got you now. And Jerry is the publisher, editor of Follow the Money Daily at FTM Daily. And there's a lot more money to follow you with because I know you were a Bitcoin bull.
Yes.
You were constructive on stocks. I believe you liked silver. Uh, you liked everything last time we got together, and everything's been rising. So
Y-
congratulations.
Thank
Nice
you, Dale.
calls.
Thank you
Nice
very
calls.
much. Yeah.
Are you ringing the register on any of it or just
Well,
hold on for dear life?
I think there's certainly a place for trades, and we certainly do trade. We position trade, but no, from a longer term perspective, we're just continuing to dollar cost average into high quality assets, and we're pleased. We're pleased with the outcome. It's been working out very well, and the rally in Bitcoin, for example, perhaps we could focus on that,
You
or
want to
or
share your
whatever.
screen, Jer?
Yeah, let me go ahead. Let me get my
Okay.
chart up here so we can see it. There we go.
All right.
All right, yeah. So, anyway, so when we take a look at something like Bitcoin, in fact, let me just come down to a chart that's a little bit more clean here, and this kind of explains our philosophy on Bitcoin. Um, you know, Bitcoin is a strange asset, and many people are still trying to figure it out. We were so fortunate, Dale, to learn about Bitcoin early. I was introduced to Bitcoin back in 2012 by a guy by the name of Trace Mayer, who invented, by the way, the Mayer multiple, which is a technical indicator that's pretty popular with Bitcoin today. Anyway, he was a very early adopter, very, very early. And he told me about it, and I had no idea what it was. I did a little bit of research and started realizing, and the thing that always drew me to Bitcoin was the fact that I was a gold and silver aficionado because of the amount of debt in the system and the need for hard assets and the need for something that was finite or at least seemingly finite compared to currency, such as the U.S. dollar. And so when I read the white paper, the Bitcoin white paper, and I fully understood what was going on, I realized that this was a nouveau way, but also a very novel technological way of creating that finite nature to recreate it, but using computer code and cryptography. And so I was instantly drawn to Bitcoin. And we've been talking about Bitcoin now for over a decade, and it's been really strange because this is one of those strange markets where retail investors get in first and then
Yeah.
wait
Good
for
point.
the institutionals, to show up. It's very similar to the cannabis industry, where there's not a lot of institutional buyers in the cannabis market, in the cannabis equity market, because of all the weird laws. But retail
Right.
are pretty
Yeah.
much propping it up. So there's some early markets that retail can get into, and if things go right, and then the institutional herds follow, well, you get moments like this. So congrats to those listening who took a chance and took a risk with Bitcoin, and are now being rewarded greatly as guys like Larry Fink at BlackRock now won it, um, which is a really great feeling to know that it's kind of a validation, I would say. So our approach to Bitcoin has been to DCA every week. We double or triple that up whenever we're in this extreme value zone. We refer to this as a 60 to 80% discount range. This is something we use on high quality assets like Apple, or something like Google, or Tesla. These are really high quality companies that have great brands, and if they fall into a extreme value zone, which we define as a 60 to 80% decline from a previous peak, well, that's going to get our attention. And if we're buyers, well,
So
we want to
where
be
would that
buying
put
more there.
Apple? Where would that put Apple? At 50?
Oh, yeah, Apple is nowhere near the extreme value zone now, but and it rarely does, unfortunately. But and I say unfortunately because of a long-term view. Some people don't want it to go down, of course, but if you have a long-term view, you do want it to go down. So we do look forward to those dips. Well, anyway, there's Bitcoin, and there's a really interesting ratio we've been following, and this nailed it. And I would encourage those who like to follow this space to follow this metric. It's the Bitcoin and S&P index ratio, which we talked about last time when we were on this broadcast. But when this number crosses 7, it often portends a pretty meaningful breakout. And we got that. We were knocking at the door there throughout 2022 and 2023. We held that area back in 2021 and rebounded, but we took that out back in October, November, and that's really whenever the Bitcoin price really began to rally. And this is the Bitcoin and S&P index ratio. So I think this is a fairly helpful one. So it takes 13 shares of the S&P 500 now to buy one Bitcoin.
Interesting. So when I think of something that has declined that may have a heartbeat now, I think we got a pretty good signal in the gold and silver miners. A lot of them were down about that amount from previous peaks. I'm wondering what you're thinking here about them.
Yeah, sure. I would say I think gold. In fact, I have a chart here on gold. There's a
Well, I'm
couple
talking
of
about the miners.
yeah, the miners. Well, look, yes. Here's the problem with the miners, and I think that they're going to do great. I mean, they're obviously going to do great. The problem is that trading the miners can be very frustrating. Even those who are trading crypto miners, it's the same thing. They're beholden to balance sheets. They're beholden to poor management decisions. They're beholden to
Land
liquidity events and
grabs, nationalization.
nationalization. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong. So I don't tend to invest in the miners. I like the physical gold. I do like the physical silver. I keep a small allocation to both, um, as I do with Bitcoin. So it's kind of I view them all the same. And one of the things I've been pounding the table on for a long time is just understanding that you don't have to have either or. You can have both. You can have some Bitcoin, you can have some gold, you can have some silver. Now, when it comes to the miners, we would expect them to have a really good run because they have been very suppressed. Let's just take a look, for example, at something like GDX. And GDX is a nice metric for the average basket of miners. And here you'll see that we've got a really nice rally bouncing off of that 25.50 low, which is where we were back in October. So we came back and revisited those lows. Now we're coming back up. It looks like a new 200-day moving average breakout is on the way if this sustains. And why not? With gold prices going up, why shouldn't we see that? Whenever we see gold, for example, whenever we see gold on the chart, let me go back to that chart here. You can really see on this particular chart, we had this big overhang on gold that was just really kind of frustrating the breakout, and we just kept having these long wicks. Really important here for those who are new to trading. I know you know this, Dale, but for those who are new to trading, you see these long wicks at the top of the chart here. These often portend a reversal. It's kind of a rejection of the price, of the higher price. And so when you see those long wicks like that, it usually means, not always, but it usually means get ready for a little bit of a consolidation and then a reattempt. And so we had this happen in 2020 where we hit this 2100 high and then we backed off with that big high long wick. Then we got a long wick here on the bottom, as you can see. Hopefully you can see my mouse here kind of circling, and that area rejected lower prices. So we went back up and we got this really long wick on the top again. So indicating, okay, we'll get ready for a reversal. And sure enough, we did. We came down here, hit the 200 weekly, really important support area, came back up and did that long wick again, right at the same area. So frustrating moment here for gold investors, seeing it just continue to fight at this area. Now we've firmly taken that area out. Although this weekly candle, I guess, could turn into a long wick and it could reject this area, we're somewhat expectant that we're going to see this push higher and actually go on 2150, 2200. And the reason is because, we're beginning to see, we saw some weakening manufacturing data. I think that's what excited many gold investors. It was some of the weakening economy. I mean, that's been the problem, ironically, is that this economy has been simply too strong. And you know, it's not something that we've been through the meat grinder for the last several years. 2020 was a nightmare. 2021 was, you know, kind of like a dream. 2022 was another nightmare. 2023 was, I think a lot of people we were talking about this last time, Dale, about the reason why we expected the market to go up, but why people hated the rally was recency bias. You know, they were so caught up in 2022 and they had heard all the analysts say, oh, you know, it's over. And so they said, well, it can't go up now. You know, it's already, you know, it's down. It has to go down. It has to keep going down. That's what they said. But of course, starts going up in 2023. 2024, once again, Dale, I'm curious about your experience on this. I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind, because I was thinking about you last night. I was sitting around thinking about how I had never seen. Let me pull up a chart of the S&P 500 here. We'll just make it nice and simple, and let's just go to a weekly chart, a nice, pretty weekly chart. Let's go for 6 months is fine. Okay. So, Dale, I don't recall a period of time where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have had 16 out of the last 18 weeks up. I went back and I looked in my almanac, right? I'm like, when
Yeah,
does this happen? When
you
does this
can't
ever
find it
happen?
because it's never happened.
Dale, I've never seen anything like this. I have all of my experience. I mean, I've been doing 25 years. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. 16 out of 18 weeks. What do you compare this to? What do you think is, I mean, I know I'm the being interviewed, but I'm curious with your experience, what do you make of 16 out of 18 weeks up on the S&P? What does that mean?
1929 eventually when it's over.
Well, there's always that possibility.
uh,
I hope
one
people have
of
had their
our
coffee.
Yeah, one of our attendees is requesting if you have it, your Apple chart. You have an Apple
Hmm.
chart?
I do. Let me come over here and see if I can
She
pull
must
that one
follow
up here.
you.
Yes, I do have an Apple chart. I just got to grab it real fast. Meanwhile, Ethereum there on the screen, that's been a rip roaring rally. What a rally. Okay, so now Apple. There she is. It's a little out of date. Let me just spruce it up just a little here. But yeah,
Okay.
here's an Apple chart that I like to use. Here's the long-term opportunity zone that I look for.
Okay.
I'm a long-term Apple buyer. In fact, a long-term Apple investor. It was my largest holding up until the beginning of 2023, whenever Nvidia overtook it, and Nvidia now is our top holding. But
Wow.
Apple is a close second, and it's
Yeah.
been falling. It recently lost its 50 weekly moving average, a
Yeah.
very important area.
Yeah.
Um, and so what we would like to see is we would like to see Apple pull back to this 200 weekly. Any touch of that we would consider to be a significant buying opportunity, and we would add. I'm not a bear on Apple. I know that it's probably in vogue to think that it's over. Um, the new Vision Pro that Apple put out is mind blowing, and to me, the reason why Apple hasn't had a rip roaring rally this year is because they haven't come out and said, you know, AI, every other word, whereas other companies have been taking advantage of that. Apple recently shut down its iCar division, whatever you call it, Project Titan. They were working on a car, and that's the hardest nut to crack in AI. So they had the smartest guys in the room working on the car. And I guess they saw the new Roadster from Tesla, or they just saw the writing on the wall, and they said, you know what? We're gonna focus in more on spatial computing and AI, just for more consumer products as opposed to automotive, which I think is probably in the long run a good move. The problem with that is that dashboard. You're probably going to have a Google car. You may have a Certainly going to have a Tesla car. Of course, you already do, but you're going to have these other magnificent seven companies. Facebook, that dashboard is going to be on the car. Whatever operating system is dominant there is going to be big. So Apple kind of forsook that, and they have a lot of smart guys and some of the smartest guys in the room working for them. So I'm very bullish on what they're going to be coming out with, especially at the WWDC event later this year. I think it's in June, where they're probably going to announce some new things related to AI. But I'm very bullish on Apple longer term. Definitely.
One of our attendees, Barry, says that sounds similar to their decision to retrench when BlackBerry was so dominant.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, we have some precedent for that. Yeah, and I had mentioned NVIDIA, and this one again, this chart is just it's hard to imagine what's happened here. This one's just off the charts. But we launched at our our website's followthemoney.com for those who want to follow us there. But we were telling our members that, look, in 2022, everybody was throwing in the towel on NVIDIA. So this is the region where we said, hey, we're going to start buying NVIDIA. And so we just started buying. We started adding to our position. And we just got, started DCAing every single week all the way into the end of the year. And that really paid off. This rally we've seen since, it's really mind blowing. But I think that NVIDIA, when you look at it on a forward PE basis, it's really not that expensive compared to things like a super microcomputer or some of its even AMD. So NVIDIA and Apple are our two largest holdings. And when it comes to crypto, of course, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. You had mentioned gold miners and silver miners. We think that those are very, very much beaten down. There's a lot of opportunity there. There's also potentially some opportunity for those who are looking for, potential markets that could rally. Lithium is wildly oversold. That's really come down hard. Some of like the largest, the largest lithium producer that comes to mind here in the United States is Albemarle, and Albemarle has really beaten down. That's one that people could be looking at.
And you brought up cannabis, where only retail's in because of the legal action too.
Yes, cannabis,
which is changing.
It is changing. Yeah, I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there, especially now, because with cannabis, for example, I started investing in cannabis a long time ago. So I'm actually down on most of my holdings that I bought in cannabis over the long term, because I started acquiring what I consider to be the top MSOs in that space. Those are
is Cureleaf one of them?
Yeah, Cureleaf is one of them. In fact, I have a chart on that. Let me pull that up. I got a chart right here. Here's using the extreme value zone that we were talking about, where you have a 60 to 80% discount from the previous peak. So Cureleaf was 1840 back in 2021. That was the peak. I do like Cureleaf, and they have a really aggressive global plan. They're certainly in Europe, and Germany just legalized. And so that's good news for Cureleaf, but also they have a very good strategy here as well. So I own Cureleaf for the long term, but as you can see, they're really beaten down. And fortunately, I've been able to average down. I never average down on trades. When you're trading, if you're trading and you're buying something that you think is going to go up, for example, you're going long and you put money into it, well, and it goes down, okay, well, that's not what you planned. You didn't plan for it to go down. So I don't like to average down on trades. But trading is not investing, and investing is not trading. So when it comes to investing, if I have a conviction on something, then I will average down, because it helps my cost basis over the long term. So if I have a 10-year, 20-year time horizon, well, yeah, of course I'm going to average down at some point. It's just the nature of it. But when it comes to trading, I wouldn't do that.
Have you ever had an example of averaging into oblivion?
Well, yes. I mean, there are those.
You're buying a stock and it ends up being diluted and reverse splits and that kind of. Yeah,
that's the risk, and that's why I stress the high quality, and that's why it's so key to really have conviction on things. So, and especially things like cannabis, for example. I mean, that's a wildly speculative market. that's not something that would take up a lot of my, available capital. I mean, I wouldn't be putting a ton of money into those things. The same thing
Okay.
with crypto. Crypto is wild. Here's
Yeah.
Ethereum. Here's Ethereum, for example. This one's going to be the big one with a spot ETF later this year. They've been focused. The institutions are very heavily focused upon Bitcoin. I think institutions, Dale, are going to like Ethereum even better than Bitcoin because Ethereum pays a yield, you know, and Wall Street
Oh,
loves yields. So I
yeah.
would imagine
Interesting.
they're going to like this one, and they're probably going to
I'm
pump.
assuming you don't mess around with the altcoins much.
Well, we have. Let's just say this: the majority of our stake is in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but a lot of the smaller altcoins they're probably going to outperform in this cycle. But it's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's like throwing a dart. I mean, which one's going to work? And it's you can certainly do it. I mean, every time we have this cycle, we do move into a time where you have some amazing gains. I'm thinking, like for example, in 2021, Bitcoin had a really healthy run, and so did Ethereum. But you had things like Sandbox and uh, Phantom and things like that that went up like 14,000%. In the year. In 1 year and so you think, well, Bitcoin didn't do that, and the theory. So, yeah, I mean, for people who want to speculate, there are fewer better places, in my opinion, than to look than to altcoins. If you want to trade and you want to, try to speculate, man, I mean, it's hard to beat. You've just got to spend a lot of time turning over every rock, and then you still may be wrong, So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
we don't want to raise hopes needlessly because it is a very tough environment. But um,
It's like
yeah,
the
we
bulletin board.
say again. Yeah,
It's like pink
exactly.
sheets, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like Cardano, for example. Cardano's been one we've liked for a long time, and it's on the run. Uh, it's one of the top 10. And I think looking at the top 20 cryptocurrencies is also very helpful. You go to something like Coin Market Cap, and you're able to see, all of the coins listed by market cap, which is very helpful. Or another thing that you can do, Coin Market Cap is really great, as I mentioned, because they're all ranked by market cap. So you can see, Solana number 5, XRP, Cardano, and then of course you have these meme coins that work their way up there. But then there's another really helpful site called Companies Market Cap, and Companies Market Cap, and actually you can rank these by all assets, and you can come in here and you can see everything in context. So top assets by market cap. And so you have gold on top. It has a market cap of 14.3 trillion. Um, and so that trumps everything. But then Microsoft comes in second, with a 3 trillion, 3 trillion market cap, and then Apple, and then Nvidia. Nvidia, it's amazing, number 3 now. Uh, it was less than 20, or it was further down the list than 20 just a year ago. But then you can see silver here, number 8, and
Yeah.
Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's almost getting ready to flip silver. That is going to be quite something.
I was
Um,
surprised gold was number one
yeah, yeah, 14 trillion
by a mile.
by a mile. Yeah. So the big narrative is Bitcoin's going to flip silver, of course, at some point. It looks like it's going to happen maybe even this week or next, or maybe this month,
By
or who
10
knows.
o'clock today.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as gold, that'll be quite the flippening. I mean, if Bitcoin overtakes gold, which many people think that it will, um, that would be pretty wild. And I think that would probably signal some sort of crazy moment in market history. I mean, that would certainly be weird. But there was something kind of savory about Bitcoin overtaking Berkshire Hathaway because it was Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger that called Bitcoin, rat poison. And so
Yeah.
to now see Bitcoin larger than Berkshire, there is some sort of sweet satisfaction, I guess, for Bitcoin bulls in that.
Yeah, Jeff Gunlich feels the same way, and he's not a dumb guy,
Hmm. He,
So, yeah, you know who he
yeah,
is, right?
sure. Yeah, he
Uh,
he
he,
feels the same. What do you mean? He feels what way now?
well, he says a lot of people are doing it because they feel like they have anonymity,
Yeah,
and it's exactly the opposite.
sure. You mean buying Bitcoin for
Yeah,
anonymity?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, it's exactly the opposite, which blows up the SEC's argument that only drug dealers use Bitcoin. Because I mean, who's
right.
going to use a public ledger to deal drugs? I mean, you'd rather use
Cash.
cash, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a dumb argument to say that Bitcoin is used for illegal, for illegal illicit purposes when the
Well,
dollar is
a lot of people, yeah, I guess a lot of people think that.
sure, sure,
Uh,
but
anyway,
the
Jerry,
criminals
you've been
prefer
hot.
cash.
Anything new that you're doing in the, looking to do here in the next few weeks or so? I mean, everything is lifted off, so
Yeah,
it's tougher than it was a year ago to find value.
sure it is. Well, let me close out with a dollar chart. I know you guys like the dollar, and you like to follow the dollar like I do. Let me just show
Yeah,
you one last chart there. Let me pull this one up, and this will kind of show you what we're thinking. And this is also um, this is the same chart I showed you last time too. We talked about this chart, uh, and so as you can see, get my pen here. Um, so the dollar had this really nice 200-day breakout back in mid 2021, peaked out about 115 back
yeah,
in mid 2022, came down, and now it's fighting right at its 200-day moving average. We continue to believe this is the ceiling for the dollar. The 107 to 108 never got taken out, never was able to retake it. This is the ceiling. The rate cuts are going to come this year. Who knows when? 50% of traders think it's coming in June. We'll see. But regardless, that you know what that means for the dollar. I mean, the dollar, that's
yeah.
the price of money. The interest rates are the price of money. So when you start seeing this price come down, we break down below 199, especially, boy, it's all bets are off. And that's gold up, that's Bitcoin up, that's silver up,
Everything
that's
up,
oil up. Yeah, that's
except
equities up.
maybe
So
bonds.
right. Well, yeah.
Well,
Well,
the long
yeah,
end of the curve won't like
sure.
a depreciating asset.
Yeah, sure. So
I,
so so
I
with the
don't.
But with the dollar coming down, that's going to be the tailwind. And I
Yeah,
guess what we're seeing here is that the market is just kind of looking forward to that, and that may explain why we are seeing such, strength in the markets. Is they're just pricing that in. But again, when are those rate cuts coming? I don't know. But I do think that we're going to see that dollar fall when we finally get the confirmation, and that's going to be great for those miners you were talking about, gold and silver miners, gold. So I think we got a lot more upside for asset prices this year. We remain bullish.
Jerry Robinson, Mr. Bitcoin, Mr. Buy Value Zones.
If anybody wants to follow us, they can go to followthemoney.com. They can sign up for our free podcast. They can sign up for our
He's a
uh,
gladiator. Look at that last slide. Jerry's been in the Coliseum fighting with his Bitcoin shield.
well, Dale, I sure appreciate being on here. I sure do appreciate your time, and I appreciate your experience. The folks should be honored to have you on to share your insights, because I know you've been around for a while doing this stuff.
And you have too, Jerry. And congratulations on being long things that worked since we
Thank you,
last
sir.
spoke. Nice work.
Thank you very much.
All right. So Jerry Robinson, you could follow him on X at FTM Daily, and you could go to his website, followthemoney.com. Whether you're a trader, investor, Jerry has some great tools that he uses to, and his experience in the market to keep people on the right side of things. So I hope this is a great 24 for you, Jerry, 2024, and not
Thank you.
just in the
Yeah.
markets, not just in the markets, and in every way that it can be for
Thank you.
you,
You
your
you too, my
family.
friend. Great
All right,
blessings to
buddy.
you.
Thank you, Jerry Robinson, everybody.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.